find if you really want something, the most important thing is focus. A lot of people that have issues, I find, and they don't know what to do, or they're like, they just can't focus. And that was one of my strengths, was when I want something, I focus. And there's nothing else. I don't have a B plan. It's just that. Right. And that's gonna work out. Because if you have a B plan, you're already like halfway out. Oh, if it's not working, I'll do this. And so you've already kind of told yourself it's not gonna work out.
Hi, and welcome to the Mindset and Performance Podcast. I'm Dris. I help athletes and business professionals with their career development. We work on a wide range of areas from psychology to strategy and execution, but we focus essentially on the mindset as it is the key to everything else. The whole idea behind this podcast is to deconstruct the habits that led people to their success, to learn from their experience and understand the psychology behind their actions and behaviors. And of course, to gain key insights that you can apply to your own life. Having a successful sporting career isn't always guaranteed. There are lots of ups and downs, injuries and stressful moments along the way. But what is it that makes some athletes stand out more than others? And what is the secret to a glorious sporting career that actually continues long past the competitive periods? Annie Boulanger, my podcast guest for this episode, had clearly found a way to be a successful athlete beyond and over the time when she was actually competing. Being now a retired professional snowboarder, she spends half of the year chasing waves and the other half chasing snow in the mountains. Annie quickly understood that being a professional athlete is such a mind game, and that is why she chose to work with a sports psychologist in an early period of her career. Annie shares with us her story, what she enjoys doing, and where she likes to spend her time. She shares with us key insights on what she learned during her competitive period and who influenced her the most. So in this podcast episode, you will learn what it takes to have a successful sporting career, how to pursue your dreams, the most important thing for career success, the power of optimism, the benefits of working with a sport performance psychologist, and why it is not good to have a plan B. Annie has also been involved in the snowboard film industry, which was a part of her career dreams. It seems like her life purpose right now is to live life to its fullest, surrounded by good friends, lots of adventures, and continuous learning. Annie and I met during a surf trip on a remote island in the Indonesian archipelago. My first impression was that she's very friendly and especially very helpful when our airlines rescheduled our ticket and we were risking to miss our connection to our final destination. Enjoy the podcast, guys, and listen carefully. Annie's story is full of very interesting key insights. How are you today?
I'm pretty good. And you?
Did you just come back today from wherever you were? I mean, you were in the Bukit, right?
Oh, I went to the Bukit for a week.
So you were there and now you moved to this side of the island?
Yeah.
Okay. Where do you stay when you come here?
I stay at a little homestay in Brawa.
Okay. And how was the Bukit?
It was all right.
It's one of my favorite places on the island, actually. But I don't know. Some people say it changed a little bit.
I'm not sure. I don't hang out in Bali that much.
But you know the difference between Canggu and the Bukit?
Yeah. But I find it more beautiful up there and the water is cleaner.
It is.
And in Brawa, I can get more stuff done as far as work and things like that. So, and I don't want to go in the water in Brawa. Or
no, you don't want to go, especially now in this season.
Yeah, no.
It's quite stinky and dirty.
Yeah.
So how are you?
I'm good.
Good. Okay. Thank you. How do you usually introduce yourself? This is a classical question that I ask people because there's a casual setup on how you introduce people to them. Hi, I'm Annie.
Yeah.
Or there's also the professional setup. How do you, or did you usually introduce yourself?
You mean while traveling or like in random places or while traveling in the industry?
Let's go back to the industry when you were traveling. Okay.
So how would I introduce myself or just say my name? Then I
You
would
just
just say
your
my
name.
name.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't put forward what you do. You just say your name.
No.
You expect people to know who you are.
No.
No.
Never.
Okay.
It's just, that's not really something I associate myself with.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's spin that one and then we'll go back to it because I want to ask about this association. It can be a very interesting point, actually.
But I worked on that.
Huh? You worked on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so now also you should just say your name?
Yeah, I say my name. I guess I only answer if people ask me what I do or how I can be here. Then they ask me what I do for a living.
I think the first time when we met, you told me I am a retired athlete, or I used to be an athlete. You didn't use the word retired. You just said...
Yeah, I used to snowboard, probably is what I said. Oh, I used to snowboard and now...
I used to snowboard professionally, like if it was nothing. After when I looked you up, I found that you were all over the place and quite famous. I think that's also humble.
Well, to me, it's not really who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't matter when I meet someone what I used to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for them to like me, they should just like me because they enjoy talking to me.
Mm-hmm. So you don't associate yourself necessarily with what you did as a job.
If I associate myself with that, to me, it's just like a really fun way. Like, I'm just feel like I lived my dream and that was my dream. And someone else has a different dream and they can live their dream and be the best they can at what they want to be. And there's not a better or a worse. That's what I wanted to do.
See, that's a very interesting point of view, because when I meet people, of course, I say, I'm Dris. And then what comes right after that? Like, what do you do? So I'm a coach. I help athletes and business professionals with their career developments. And how specifically, then I go to psychology, strategy, and execution. So we tend to associate who we with the things we do. And I think I wrote an article about that. Like that's when the problems start happening, is when athletes or those professionals want to change career. They say, oh, well, I was a snowboarder all my life. What I'm going to be now?
Yeah, but I always found, so when you start being pro and everyone loves you and they're sending you gear and you're on the top of the game, it's like an ego trip as well, right? But I started doing therapy really early in my career.
What kind of therapy? What do you mean therapy?
Like, I started seeing therapists because I wanted to...
Psychologist?
Yeah. I was just really open to it and I was stressed and negative. I just had some things I wanted to change. And I slowly started doing therapy to like help snowboarding, and I really wanted to, at that time, was probably to be the best possible I could be at snowboarding. And it was just very stressful. And I learned to cope with that. And I was just really interested all the time to learn about myself. And I grew up French Canadian, and we're really good at laughing at each other and making jokes all the time.
Laughing as in teasing?
Like teasing. Everyone teases you, so you can never think really you're good at something or say out loud because someone's gonna slap you in the back right away. So it's just, people make fun of each other all the time. And so yeah, I guess you learn to really like laugh at yourself and not take yourself serious. And so for me, therapy was really having someone else observe you and challenge the way you think and tell you you could think somewhere like another way. So it became a game with my thoughts. And so I observed a lot of people that when they finished their career, because the career is such a mind game, you have really like big ups and big downs, and you're doing well and you're injured and you think you're going to lose it, but you worked so hard to live your dream that the scariest thing is to lose it. And I've seen a lot of people by the end of their career, they're so drained, they hate snowboarding, they hate their sponsor, it just like took the energy out of them, and they don't even want to go snowboarding anymore, and they move to the city and they do something completely different. And I always thought that was very sad, because what got me to snowboarding is because I loved snowboarding so much. And so I wanted to make sure that I always loved snowboarding, and nothing was going to take that away. And so I started working on that and observing, okay, well, and then changing my thoughts and working on my negative thoughts. Let's say I was scared to like lose money or lose my job. And then I just started changing my thoughts that after my career, maybe life will be even better and I'll have even more fun and I'll make even more money. Because I think a lot of people, once they reach their dream to be a professional athlete, they think that after that, it's going to go downhill and they won't make more money or be happier or be as cool. And so I just wanted to say, well, it'll be even better after.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I'm very curious on what period of your career development you reached out to the therapist, and because it takes some sort of maturity to say, okay, I need that. I need someone to talk to and to rework on my mind. Like, some people would just go through the whole career without really actually reaching out or solving that. But what was different about you? What made you actually look for that and not think of it like as being a shrink and being, for people who have problems, but like more for people who would like to improve something?
I was always interested in reading self-help books.
Mm-hmm.
And nutrition books and just books where I was learning. And I didn't have the best relationship with my dad. Like, he was a great father, but he was hard on me. And we're born on the same day. So it was very challenging for me because everything he has in him that I have in me, that he mirrors, would really trigger me and bring out the negative stuff in me. And so I just really wanted to work on that aspect. Like all the stuff he brought out, and not to turn in that person later.
Right.
And it would be hard for me to go back home because he would trigger me and I'd just get really tense. And so
that's at a young age, teenage?
That's in my 20s.
20s, all right.
Yeah. And because I left home, I was 18 and I was like having trouble living with my dad because he would just bring up a lot of tension in me and stress. And when I was away, like, my parents were quite controlling. So for me to move away and to not have to talk to them was amazing. But they're great parents. They're amazing. They're really nice. It's just like they didn't really believe in a career in snowboarding. So they were pursuing me to go to school and do something different.
And who were you as a child? What kind of child were you?
As a child, I would want to I was quite independent and like doing what I want to do in a smart way. Like, it was always very logical that I was a good kid, but I didn't want to listen to rules. And so I lied to my parents a lot because they were very strict. So I would make it look like I'm a very good kid and I do everything they want, but then I would lie and go do what I wanted to do after, let's say. Yeah.
Oh, and who did you want to be back then? Like, what were you
thinking? I was really young?
Yeah, like, I don't know, being a princess or...
Like a prima ballerina.
Yeah.
And then I started ballet and I hated it. And then I wanted to work at SeaWorld and work with the whales. And then when I started snowboarding, I was 13. And at 15, I said, I'm going to be a pro snowboarder and move to Whistler.
That was back then already that clear.
Yeah, as soon as I started snowboarding, something clicked and I loved it. And I was like, oh, I can be really good at this. And I already started looking at what the best girls were doing. And I could see that I could be one of the top.
Who were you looking up to?
It was like... The only girls I could see back then were the girls at X Games, which was Tina Basic and Shannon Dunn and the first girls that started, really. And
who would you say influenced you the most? Like, it could be one of the snowboarders, like, I mean, in life in general. It could be some author from some place.
It was more my close friends. The guys I would snowboard with were the guys that I spend my entire days with, and the guys that I would admire because they were better than me at snowboarding, and they were teaching me about snowboarding and taking me out with them and teaching me about what it's like to be pro, and I'd spend my entire days with them.
Were they an equal number of men and women athletes?
There was no girls.
No, you were the only one.
Yeah, at my school when I started snowboarding, I was 13. But there was no other girls snowboarding. And then when I would go to the resort, there was no other girls. So I would look, and the guys thought I was a poser, and they didn't want to snowboard with me, the guys at school that were snowboarding. So I kind of just rode by myself and would observe guys that were better than me and copy them. And then when I got better, the guys at school.
Was it competitive or rather supportive? Dynamic between you and them, like
the guys?
Yeah,
they didn't know I was observing them. I would just like watch from the chair, and I would learn like what tricks or how to snowboard from observing. And I'm like, oh, that was a cool trick, and I'll use the same jump. And I didn't, because I'm a girl. We don't. Like, guys always they buy the magazines and they buy the videos and they know about the tricks. I didn't know anything. I didn't know I could go buy magazines and movies and learn about it. I would just go snowboarding. And then when I would just spin until I cut my edge, or I would just hit the jumps, and I didn't really know what I was doing because I didn't have anyone teaching me. But I still somehow got good. And then when I started getting good and hanging out with the cool guys in the contest, they would teach me the name of the grabs and the name of the tricks, and be Annie, you should do a 360 and land it before you learn 720s. And yeah.
So they were supportive at the end.
They were very nice. Yeah.
Nice.
The guys were really nice. Snowboarding is not like surfing. Snowboarding, guys and girls snowboard together. You do the sport as a family. It's more like on the weekend, everyone goes together. And it's a really nice sport. When I started surfing, I was quite dramatized.
Really?
How sexist and mean, and how mean people are.
Oh, wow. I would have expected the snowboarding would be the same.
No, snowboarders are so nice. People are from the mountain. They're relaxed. They're happy. There's not really like competition with other people. And when I grew up competing in snowboarding, the girls and the guys are always in the same event. The girls go before the guys and they cheer you on and they help you. Like the history of the sport is not like surfing, where the girls were like really tough at first, and a lot of them were lesbians, right? Because it was so hard they didn't want girls to join the sport.
No, very interesting.
And when I first came to Bali, I got the surfers were douchebags and just like so big egos, and talk to girls like they were like garbage, and like they could get any girls they want, and they would never ask us what we did for a living because they were so cool. They were surfers. How could you do anything that's even like as cool as what they do, or any interest at all? So yeah, I didn't like the scene.
I don't know this side at all, because like I'm a guy, so I don't know how the guys are actually treating girls. But this is very interesting.
Yeah, I hated it because I didn't.
But it didn't turn you off from trying to surf.
I didn't feel
and
valued
learning.
as a woman at all. Just hanging out in Bali, I felt. Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't hang out in Bali. I would go to Lombok, and I'd go to like little places with cool surfers, and not where the best surfers are.
Well, it's true. There's a lot of attitude around here.
Yeah, I don't like the attitude. And in the mountains or in snowboarding, if someone has an attitude, you're not going to have a long career because no one wants to hang with you.
See, I would have thought the opposite, like, because there's a lot of attitude between guys in the water. And I would have thought because there's a good looking girl, they will be a little bit nicer and more gentle.
No, the guys see it as an opportunity to get a wave. If you're paddling, you're not going to hit them, and you're probably bad because you're a girl. So guys always think it's easy because you're a girl to catch a wave. It's way harder. Way harder.
Wow, okay. Good to know.
Some
I'll keep it in
places
mind.
I go now, some people are nice, and if you get in a good crew, they'll help you out. But I know those places, and I know the people, and I go back to those places because of those nice guys that make sure the girls can catch waves, and they help us. Because if you're a top surfer girl and you can hang with the guys, sure, but if you're like an intermediate surfer, the guys can paddle around you and just lap you all day. But if you know some of the top surfers in the lineup and they call you into a wave and it's your turn and you've been waiting, then the other guys don't paddle. They respect, and they're like, oh yeah, okay, that girl hasn't had a wave in an hour.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so where were we? We were at 13 years old, starting to snowboard. But it's good. Like I like it when we drift a little bit like this, because there's also things
fun.
there.
It was very fun.
13 years old, starting to snowboard. How did you start in the first place? Like his
parents? I used to ski, and my brother got a snowboard, and my brother was my idol, so I copied him.
There we go. I was looking for figures. Figures. What did you pick from him?
What did I what?
What did you pick from him? What is the things that you would say I modeled from him?
Oh, sports mostly. My brother was hyperactive and quite into sports, and a very good coach. And so he coached me at every sport possible so that he could play with me. So it was like very physical and very painful. So I got beat up a lot. So I really learned to be tough and not to cry and not to go like see my mom. And so that really helped me out in my career because it was very painful. Through
the whole career or in the beginning only?
No, because it's painful. Oh. Yeah. If you don't want to fall, you're not going to be a professional snowboarder.
I meant more the tough part, like the coaching part. Like, was he coaching you through the whole time, or
Oh
just
no, he was just like telling me how to play sports, like how to play hockey properly, or
Oh, you did that too.
yeah, we played everything at my house. We just played outside, and so we played baseball or football or hockey or dodgeball, or it was like every sport.
And when did it take off? When did your career start taking off?
I moved
Specifically.
to Whistler in 98, 99, and I just started competing quite a bit more. And then I would say I started winning all the competitions in Canada, and I didn't want to jump too fast. I wanted to make sure, I didn't want to go to an event unless I thought I could win it. And so by 2001, my team manager forced me to go to the US Open, and I said, okay, I think I can do well in the quarter pipe if you get me in the invitational quarter pipe. And he's like, I'm not sure if I can get you in the invitational quarter pipe, but you can do the pipe. And I'm like, I'm not ready yet to win the pipe. But he was forcing me. So, and then finally I got into the invitational quarter pipe, and then I won that. And I came from being an amateur and just winning Canadian contests to then winning one of the biggest events in the industry. And so after that, I was invited to all the competitions, all my contracts with my sponsors got way bigger. And then everyone liked me way more.
Okay, that's
and so I became
moment.
the token contest girl for my sponsors at that time, where I was invited to all those contests, X Games, US Open, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, that's when it took off. Okay, what was the chapter after that?
The chapter after that was I kept doing quite well in contests for another year, and then got injured. And then I didn't like the pressure and the expectation, because when you're a rookie, it's very easy to be confident and to go win because there's no expectations. And once people expect you to win and expect you to be the top girl, that's when the mental breaks. And I like observing people in their careers now, and I've observed a lot of people that blow up fast and they're the best and they get injured. And that's your excuse, is I'm injured. And so that's how I got into therapy, and I blew my knee recently. I blew my knee, and then I learned that I created that, and I got injured. And you learn that your injuries sometimes will be your excuse to for your fear of success. And how you can create injuries and
unconsciously, you mean, or consciously?
Yeah, unconsciously. What you attract. You've thought about it before, and it's created from your childhood, and so whenever I would get injured, and injury snowboarding is different than injury surfing. I've noticed my friends are really sad when they get injured surfing, but maybe they get a bad cut on the reef and they get a few stitches and they're out of water for a couple of days. But snowboarding, when you get injured, you're out for a month or for the season. And you need surgery, or you're out for a few months, or it's usually quite serious when your friend calls you and says, I'm injured. They're out.
Can we go back to the point where you said it can come, you create it?
Yeah. And
could you tell me a little more about what do you mean specifically by coming from the childhood? I think it's the interesting part there. It comes from a childhood, you said,
Yeah. Well, my issue personally, I think a lot of athletes actually have the same issue, is someone, maybe your dad when you were a kid, told you were not good enough. And so athletes are very hard on themselves, and they're perfectionists for some reason, and they're very driven, and so they usually don't think they're good enough. That's why they want to be the best, and they want to excel and be better and better and better, and that's what keeps you often training and working harder. But also, some people come from beautiful families and they're just so good and talented and they're having so much fun. But a lot of people that are on top, I find, go to therapy and I think you put yourself under so much stress in those situations, in those big events, and you're just pushing your limit where you're so scared of what you're about to do that it brings everything up. Whatever your issues are, they just come to the surface.
Very good. Okay. So, but what I meant actually there when I asked the question, but this is good what you answered, 100%, because you said something like when we get injured, it's somehow we create that injury. We want to be injured.
Yeah.
Is that what you meant? Or did I understand
think
wrong?
subconscious.
Yeah.
you maybe want to be injured. It's your excuse because you don't think you can do it. You're questioning.
So you self-induce yourself with even more pressure. So you kind of sabotage it. That's what you mean?
Yeah, you're sabotaging.
You're sabotaging it. All right. Okay. And then you'd say that's my excuse. That's why I can do more.
Yeah.
That's why.
Not in every situation.
Yeah.
I found that in some of my situation. Or another way to get injured is you're not listening to what you really want to do.
Emotionally.
Yeah. Let's say one of my injuries, I was at X Games and I did not want to be at X Games. I didn't want to compete anymore. And I was just doing it for my sponsors and I hurt myself.
Was really that like thinking negatively and attracting it? Was it
that was just not wanting to be there and just not snowboarding well and just feeling pressured to be there and then after that injury is when I just started I was actually usually pretty good at making my own calls, but yeah, I think it comes back to really looking at what you want to be doing and what makes you happy.
So was that period one of the most challenging periods of your career? Like
which one?
This one, when you get the first injury. That was the first injury?
I've had so many injuries. They're all hard.
Because
they were all hard, and you all have to take them and learn something from them. And it's very scary while you're injured because you think you're going to lose your contract. Because snowboarding, surfing, sports, snowboarding, you're always on the verge of doing something where you'll hurt yourself. But if you don't, you'll lose your job. And if you hurt yourself, you lose your job. And so you have to push the limits. And it's just a fine line.
I see.
And so when you are injured, you're just wishing that you did something good before and your sponsors keep you around. And it depends how long your contracts are. If your contract's up right after your injury, you're worried. But if you have a 3-year contract and you're in your first year, you're like, okay, I have 2 more years to look good so that they re-sign me again.
So it seems like during that phase, like the first, like when you said like that was the first time where you reached out to therapist.
Yeah.
It was a second shifting or pivoting moment. So the first pivoting moment was when you actually won the big game, and the second one when you get injured, and there was a lot of pressure there, and you looked for changing the way you think about things to sustain a longer career.
Yeah, well, I bruised my heel, so that was an injury that just never heals when you're snowboarding because you're always landing on your heel. And so I took that injury and took a lot of time off and was reflecting, and I really wanted to get into backcountry. That was one of my dreams because there's no girls in the backcountry snowmobiling, and all my guy friends were doing that, but I wasn't allowed as a girl. It wasn't something that was available.
And what did you do when you say reflecting? So you reached out to someone and you start exploring yourself, like reading, listening,
writing? I started reading and I started really asking for help, but like in my head. I just was manifesting, I guess, or just asking for help to someone to help me go in the direction I wanted to go because I didn't see open doors.
What was the question back then?
What I wanted to do, but I didn't have any help, and everyone was like, no one wanted to help me do it.
So you knew where you wanted to go, but you didn't know how to.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than, I don't know what to do and I need answers.
I knew I wanted to be in the backcountry and I wanted to be in snowboard movies and snowboard magazines. But as a girl, there was no opportunities and no one wanted to really help me. And I was just, every night I would go to bed and be stressed and just ask for help before I fell asleep.
As in praying?
Yeah, I would pray. Like, I just need help. Like, please.
Right.
I don't know how, but yeah.
So what happened after that?
Well, slowly, one of my good friends, helped me. And one of my team managers slowly helped. Did
you reach out to them?
Yeah, for sure. I reached out to them, but everyone was telling me they couldn't market a girl and they were cutting my contracts and every year I would make less money. And they told me they couldn't sell it and that it wasn't going anywhere. But I had a vision. Like, I knew it was going to work and I had a vision because there was no girls doing it. And I loved it. And I just knew it was going to work. and that I could be the only girl doing it if someone would just help me. But it's quite complicated to get a snowmobile, go in the backcountry. You gotta have a gang, you gotta have a movie, you gotta have funding, and it's quite expensive.
You did a movie at some point. Like I found something, I think.
I did a lot of movies.
You did, yeah.
Since 2004 or 5 until 2016.
Actually, when we Google you, you are a movie character.
I'm a movie character?
Yeah, you know Wikipedia? It's actress, movie
Oh.
character. It's
Really?
true. Yeah. Didn't see it?
No, I've
Didn't
never
know.
seen that.
It's not the snowboarder, it's the movie character or actress.
No way. That must be someone else.
That's you.
That's funny.
Okay, what were you saying? You were saying movies.
Yeah, so I slowly got into smaller movies that my friends were making.
Mm-hmm.
And then my dream was to be in, there was 3 top snowboard movies back then. And my dream was to be in one of them called Absent Films. And then I just begged and begged and begged everyone, my sponsors, and my sponsors didn't want to call the movie company because they were embarrassed to ask to bring a girl on.
That's so interesting.
And
though.
a guy, if a guy's won the US Open,
how come was that much?
if a guy's won the US Open, he's been to X Games,
No problem.
And the sponsors called and we're like, we have like 30 grand. People are like, yeah, no problem. But if it's a girl, they're like, oh, I don't know if we want to bring a girl.
How did that make you feel?
Well, it didn't feel good. But that's my whole career. That's just how it felt all of the time.
So it was challenging not only
But I grew up playing with the boys, with my brother. So I always felt like I wanted to be as good as the guys, but I was a girl. So I kind of always felt like that my whole life. So I'm used to it. I'm used to failure. Very, very good at accepting failure. Because I'm used to always losing to my brother.
That was early training with the brother.
Yeah.
That's a good one. What do you think when you have a failure? What goes in your mind? What do you think about
now? Or then?
I mean now.
Now I laugh.
You laugh, but
yeah.
And back then?
Now the important thing is to have fun.
All right.
And if you fail, who cares?
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to impress anyone. Back then I was quite hard on myself. Yeah.
How you take yourself out of it?
I was very competitive.
Well, how did you take yourself out of it? Like
therapy. I noticed I was very competitive and I noticed it was not making me happy. And I had a girlfriend that I observed and she was happy for other girls when they were doing like good stuff. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. I want to be like that. I want to be able to look at what the other girls are doing and just be happy and have it not affect me and my happiness and my snowboarding.
That's one of the principles of the growth mindset. When we look at people who are actually successful, be happy for them and actually learn from their experience.
And I think it comes from just not being fearful that you're going to lose your job or who you are and your identity snowboarding. Because in sports or in snowboarding, there can be many good guys, but one girl. And that's how it used to be. You can only have one girl on each team. So it was very competitive. You have to be the best or you're out. And so... And it kind of comes between like, after reading all those books and doing therapy where you just create abundance. And you're like, there's enough for everyone. There is no competition. You just create opportunities and it's going to work out. But that just takes a lot of work depending on where you came from and your childhood training with your parents, you know?
Yeah, childhood training, a very important one. We all went through that.
Yeah.
I'm actually reading a very interesting book these days about that child inside of us and how to heal it. It's a very trendy word these days. Okay, back at you. I am particularly interested in how did you organize your days and your life during that period of competitive period. So I guess there was a lot of travels, there were peak photo shoots to do, there was movies, as you said, and there was actually preparing for competition and all that stuff.
Yeah, I was quite busy.
How about social life?
Oh, my social life was fun. Well, that's why I didn't like competing, because I wanted to be with my friends. And so snowboarding to me was about snowboarding with my friends and having fun. And that's why filming movies was more reflecting on what I loved about snowboarding than competing and rules and judges and the stress and traveling every week somewhere different. It just didn't bring out the best in me. Some people love it. Some of my friends, they say when they drop in, everything blacks out and it's their time in the half pipe or it's their time. And for me, I would black out and feel like vomiting. Like I did not deal with like everyone's eyes on me and everyone observing. I didn't feel brought out the best in me. And I just wanted to snowboard when I want to snowboard and when the conditions are right. And not like, okay, 8 o'clock, minus 25, TV's on, go. Do your best. And then if you fall, then you're not very good. Anything you've worked on for the last 6 months doesn't count.
So how did your days look like?
My days, well, in the fall, you have seasons. So in the fall, you train and you work out, preparing for the season. Then as soon as the season starts, you're traveling and going to the best parks. And I would go to California, go to Mammoth, ride park and train and ride with your friends. You're always riding with your friends. And then start competing with your friends and follow the competition circuits. And then in the summer, you'd keep riding, go to Mount Hood or go to Whistler, go on the glaciers and keep snowboarding, working on your tricks. And then do it all over again.
Nutrition in check.
Well, back then, not really.
No?
Not when you're a kid. I guess as a girl, you just try not to like be chubby. But not...
Did it matter anyway?
But I grew up eating healthy.
But did it matter?
What mattered?
The what you eat.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I started later on figuring out not to eat wheat and dairy, and that made me feel better. But that didn't affect my snowboarding and things like that, I would say. Back then, snowboarding, you know, it was like the generation before me were like big drinkers and big partiers. So it's not until the Olympics came way later that the coaches and the training and that to me was like, that's not for me. Have a diving coach tell me what's wrong with my trick. It's not like a definition of snowboarding to me. For me, snowboarding is going riding with my friends and having fun and have the people I admire help me and challenge me, but we're riding together.
Right. Like, yeah, I mean, it became more serious afterwards.
Yeah, I'm not going to do trampoline and, you know, now that's what it is. Well, now there's two aspects of the sport. There's the trampoline training part and there's the free riding and soul riding more. And you can see the people that are creative and the people that are more like calculated. I don't know if you understand. Surfing is the same. You can see the surfers that are soul surfing and they're feeling the wave. And you can see the people that are like, I gotta do a turn right now, and it's just more calculated and you can see how people surf. And I like to watch people that are feeling the wave and flowing.
You can see it obviously these days with them, right? You can see clearly who's having fun and who's actually feeling the wave rather than executing it.
It's different personalities of how people ride. You can't really change that. I think that's just how people are.
I was just gonna ask you if you think people are born with it or they can develop it.
I think they're born with it.
Can they?
They can learn style though. People can really learn style and learn to be conscious. You can be conscious of start to feel, but some people are just rational and logical. That's just how their mind works. Yeah, and they need to think. And there's no good and there's no bad.
What were you then?
I was the one that didn't like the rules. I'm someone, okay, my snowboarding was I'm either gonna go as fast as possible and do the coolest thing ever and land, or I'm gonna fall really hard. There wasn't like a happy middle. So that's why in competitions, it didn't work for me because I couldn't do like 2 runs and be reserved and land my 2 mediocre runs. I was gonna go all in and probably fall. Then I got to kind of live my dream and ride backcountry in the movies I wanted to film with the riders I wanted to ride with, and it was really stressful, but amazing.
What was special about it?
I had the good budget and the good filmers and the good riders to do the best snowboarding possible and have the best filmmakers, and at the same time it's very scary to perform because there's a lot of pressure because your sponsors are backing you and there's a lot of money involved. They're paying you, they're putting money in the movies, and so if at the end of the year you don't produce anything, there's a lot of pressure from people that are going to be mad if you didn't do anything. But at the same time, you're living an experience is the best experience you can have in that sport at the top of.
And how different that is from competing against other people. Like, because you said pressure, there was pressure before and there's pressure then still.
Yeah, there is, but I really enjoyed being with the guys than competing with other girls. Because I always felt it's okay. The pressure is not really that on me. The guys are going to get the best shots. And if I can snowboard during the day and do something, it's a bonus. But actually, I took a lot of the days as learning experience because the guys had so much more experience. And some days are very frustrating because of that. As I'm the rookie, I'm not as strong, and so I don't say anything. The plan of the day doesn't revolve around what I want to do. I kind of tag along, and if I can do what they're doing, cool. And if I can't, I sit back and still pay for the heli at the end of the day. So, but I feel like that was quite a highlight now when I look back, that I was so lucky to do all those things and hang out, because everyone was amazing. The riders are amazing. Everyone's so passionate and everyone wants to be there.
And creative.
Everyone wants to be there. They want to make this best movie ever, and everyone wants to ride their best, and everyone's having fun and cheering. When you're doing a movie, everyone's cheering each other on because everyone's in the same project and they want the movie to be good. So yeah, the guys might be competitive against each other, but still they're pushing each other.
So there was beautiful. A sense of togetherness in that.
Yeah, and you're watching the best snowboarding in history right next to you. Because the guy is the best in the world and he's going to do something no one's ever done. And that's what's fun about backcountry, is a lot of stuff hasn't been done and it's creative. And so the riders I was riding with in Absent were like Nicholas Mueller and Gigi and Vole. And they're so creative and they read terrain like no one has ever read terrain. And to watch them snowboard is mind-blowing. And then you watch the movie, it doesn't even make it justice of how hard it was, what they did. So it's really amazing. And you're flying in helicopters or driving snowmobile and someone's giving you money for that. And you're getting paid to go spend money in a helicopter. So
do you still do some of it right now?
Right now, I don't. I just go for myself. I don't want to put myself in those situations anymore and burn my adrenal glands and get scared. Like I've kind of moved on from being that scared and not sleeping at night, because I wouldn't sleep at night.
Wow.
Because you're just, I don't know, you're anxious. So what's the other tomorrow's gonna bring? And just snow packs and avalanches and conditions, and so many things can go wrong so quick. And of course we're very careful and we make the best calls possible, but skiers and snowboarders, a lot of accidents happen compared to surfers.
Yeah, you told me that a couple of times.
There's a lot of elements that come into play. And and it's hard work. It's physical. It's draining. When you go snowmobiling for a few days straight, you can't move after a few days. It's so taxing on the body.
How did you do your restorative practices? How did you recover?
I would roll out of bed and go to acupuncture.
So you would say acupuncture is one of the best for that?
For when no one can touch me because I'm too sore, then acupuncture.
Right.
Yeah, it's the most gentle stuff. Because like when I was less aware, I guess, of my body, I used to go to like massages that were so painful and they dig really hard, and you think that's what's helping you because you don't really have that much awareness, or I didn't. And then slowly I got into things that were very gentle and subtle, and I found those are the ones that go and heal the deepest. And they bring out and they move emotional things as well. And
let's dig into that a little bit. Yeah. What kind of practice are you into?
What kind of practice?
Practices,
like what kind of healing I go to?
Yeah.
Right now I really like acupuncture. I love craniosacral, which comes from osteopathy. So I love osteopathy. Osteopath is from France. It's I like to go to chiro to get adjusted, but osteopath, they deal with your organs, they deal with tissues. If you fall really hard on your back, they'll go see your kidney or your liver, and they'll really like go see if your digestion got, affected. And the chiro or the physio, I find they more treat symptoms, and they'll just crack you and they'll like massage your muscle and be like, okay, like come back next week. As whereas the osteo and the acupuncturist, they really look at your body as a whole, and they treat everything as a whole, and they more go towards what created this. Maybe your knee's not healing because you have something in your digestive system, or maybe it just goes further than.
Right. And what else are you up to these days? Like, so when we met, you were on a surf trip. How do you organize your year or months?
Well, now my priority is to have fun and do the things I love.
How long since you retired, by the way?
Not very long.
Yeah, okay. But you're not 100% retired.
I'm not
right?
100% retired. I
You're
still
right.
have sponsors,
Yeah.
and I make a tiny bit of money, but I support myself through the real estate I acquired while I was snowboarding.
You invested.
Yeah,
Okay.
so while I was snowboarding, I was lucky enough to be able to save money, and I would put that in real estate, and in the summer, I would renovate houses and flip houses and be a slumlord. I've been a slumlord for a really long time, and just started small, and I'm lucky that the market kind of grew, and now I'm able to have a condo that I rent, and I rent my house, and I have suites, and so now it's mostly how I sponsor myself.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you do with that time now?
So now I hang out with my friends, I go snowboarding, I still do renovation projects, which I love. And then I come surfing, because what saved my career and prolonged my career was started to surf. Because snowboarding was so full on and year round. And when I started surfing, I started going away for a week, going away for 2 weeks. And then it became longer every year. And it would really give me a break from snowboarding and make me miss it and make me appreciate my life and what I could do because of snowboarding. Because just snowboarding and just hanging out with snowboarders all the time was very stressful, and always talking about it and living it. And when I would leave, I would love to go to Mexico and go somewhere where no one knew anything about snowboarding. No one would talk about snowboarding. And I was fully the tourist that no one knew, that I couldn't speak the language, I couldn't dance. And everyone would laugh at me because I was bad at surfing. And I would just love being in that situation where there's no ego. You don't have to, be cool at anything.
Where do you spend most of your time then? You spend like half a year in Indonesia? And
I spent a lot of time in Mexico and Costa Rica at first. That's where I learned to surf. And it was close. And I thought Indonesia was quite hard to surf. So I didn't come here for a while.
All right.
And
hard to surf,
and then it just... Like later on, I just felt like I wanted to move to the beach. I just love the beach lifestyle more than the mountain life. And my entire career was focused on saving money so that one day I could go spend time at the beach. Because I didn't want to live in Canada. I just wanted to be there when it's good to snowboard. But I thought the beach life was way better. So I didn't spend any money. I just put it on real estate so I could leave.
And then so these days you spend a lot of time surfing, and then you go back.
I go
home,
surfing, I travel,
snowboard.
but also while I'm doing that, I'm learning, I'm reading, I'm still doing healings or therapy, or that's kind of what I find very interesting.
Exploring.
Yeah, like to me, to learn, I don't need to go to school, because I can learn anything I want either online or in books or through amazing people I meet while traveling. And that's one of the best things about traveling, is the people you meet and how much you can expand your mind that way.
Okay, so the hard question because not everyone find it easy, but it's not always hard. It could be easy for some because you can have it clearly like that. What are you driven by doing all of that now? What's the drive? What's the source? What's behind it all?
To be happy.
To be happy.
So I do things that make me happy. And now I have more time to spend with my friends and be there for others. And yeah, but realistically, I look at what makes me happy, and I look at being healthy and feeling good. And so I need to be active, and I need to be in nature. To me, like I guess one of the biggest things that makes me happy is being in nature. And so if I wasn't in nature, I would be miserable, completely miserable. If you take me out of being active in nature, yeah, I don't function.
But there is nature and nature. Like people would be in a city and go to the nature in a park.
Yeah, no.
That's not what we're talking about,
no.
right?
I need to be spend my days outside. I can do maybe a week in Bali where I go and I need to go for walks on the beach. But after a week in Bali, I need to get out of here.
It's too much of a city in Bali.
Yeah, to me, yeah, because I don't like surfing. It's too crowded. But that's when I feel like that's what brings out the best in me, is being in the mountains and with my friends and sharing those moments, and being in the ocean or in the forest, in the jungle. That's where we're meant to live, I think.
That's what we are meant to, right? That we just said,
I feel that's how we're meant to live, is to be in nature.
It's so hard to explain to everyone and to get people convinced by it.
But it's good that not everyone wants to do it.
so
then I can
they start in their cities. And
I can find places that are still very peaceful with not many people.
So what are the skills would you say that you have transferred from the past career and to now? What are the things, the soft skills, would say? Like the things
skills?
Yeah. That you still carry these days, that you use?
Well, all of them.
All of them? What are they?
They're all important.
What are they?
Well, I feel like the skill of being alone and traveling alone, that's something that took me a bit to learn, to be alone by myself, traveling and trusting that you're going to meet someone else. Because when I leave and I come to, let's say I come to Indonesia for this season, maybe I have a friend that I can meet up with. But after I spend a lot of time alone, because not many of my friends have a similar lifestyle. And so I feel being like the solitude becomes a strength to be able to do that.
What's the difference between solitude and loneliness?
Well, loneliness sounds negative. In solitude, you have to be happy alone. And then you meet people that are happy alone. And I find that's a strength.
It is.
Yeah.
What's next? What's next for you? You go in.
I'm gonna go home and go snowboarding and hang out with all my friends, because
you miss them.
I miss my friends, and there's no girls cooler than all my friends in the mountains. I have a lot of trouble finding a similar group of friends at the beach. Not because they don't exist. I just haven't met them. I meet cool girls at the beach, but they're on their own program, or I run into them for a short period of time. But nothing will compare to my relationships with my girlfriends at home. And there's a different group of girls that live in the mountains and a different group of girls that live on the beach, because no one moves to Whistler to go take Instagram of their butt and their selfies, at the beach. It's usually girls that like to mountain bike, ski, snowboard, hike, climb, paddleboard, swim. Like, my friends are badass.
It sounds like you're excited to go and see them.
Yeah.
But don't you think sometimes when we spend a lot of time abroad, I had this conversation with a friend the other day. We were saying, like, we spend a lot of time out here, and then when we go back and see our friends, we find like there's a gap. Not the gap of friendship, we're not the same friends, we're still friends. But it's like if we lose synchronicity with them, like they think differently, or they started getting more too serious about life, or do you find that?
Well, my friends live very similar lives as me.
All right, okay.
They're athletes and they travel a lot. And especially just Whistler is seasonal. So even my friends that have more regular jobs, they go travel a few months a year. So everyone's traveling and everyone wants to share their stories and where they've been. And some of my friends are more serious and having kids. But people where I'm from are the same as me.
And have you been thinking about coaching yourself, coaching other people? No. Never.
I'm a bad coach.
What makes you think that?
I'm not able to break things down for people.
Like explain things step by step? Yeah,
like if you mean as a coach, like for sports?
Like for snowboarding. Like somebody, I don't know, one of the listeners says, okay, I want you to teach me how I can become.
Yeah, I'll be like, go fast and hit the jump. Like, I'm not good at breaking. Like, I really admire people that are good coaches. I wasn't born with that. My brother was.
Oh.
My brother's
you mentioned
teacher. No, that's just not one of my talents. Yeah, that's okay.
That's okay.
I don't enjoy it either. So
I came across an article the other day saying like how the athletes doesn't necessarily make the best coaches.
No, it's true.
Yeah, and the story was about actually the opposite, like a banker who quit his job in the bank, and he went to teach soccer to a team. Like he became a head coach for a professional soccer team. I can't remember which name it was, and he took them really far, really high. He was not an athlete. He didn't know anything.
That's amazing. I don't have that. I can just play.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so probably there's some listeners who are snowboarders here, either from you or from my side. Is there a message to tell them?
I find if you really want something, the most important thing is focus. A lot of people that have issues, I find, and they don't know what to do, or they're like, they just can't focus. And that was one of my strengths, was when I want something, I focus. And there's nothing else. I don't have a B plan. It's just that.
Right.
And that's gonna work out. Because if you have a B plan, you're already like halfway out. Oh, if it's not working, I'll do this. And so you've already kind of told yourself it's not gonna work out.
So the focus that you're talking about here is not necessarily the attention span, like focusing on reading a book necessarily in a like for 30 minutes, but focus in the big picture, like what you want.
Just focus on what you want. Have a vision.
Okay.
And just don't give that up.
How can someone develop that?
Like knowing what they want.
I mean, knowing they can find the answer. Like once you find it, back to
once you find it, writing it down and figuring out what you want and what you love and what makes you happy. And just focusing on that every day or all the time.
So what can conflict with it?
You're not going to go, you don't go accept opportunities that won't take you to that goal or to that vision. You don't even go that route. Because
how did you learn that?
Slow you down.
How did you learn that?
That's my personality.
That's your personality?
Yeah.
Okay. How can someone learn it? Like you said, they can learn it? You just said it. Sorry, I'm asking the question twice. What can conflict with it? Because this is a very interesting point. I'm so much into it as well.
I guess it would be your self-doubt.
So self-talk, self-doubt.
Because if you really want that job, but then you're like, oh, but this job's really good too. And you'll convince yourself to do something else because of it pays well or blah, blah, blah. And you don't think what you want's really coming. And so you kind of just told it that it's not coming by accepting something different. But if you just keep focusing that it's going to come and you refuse all these, and sometimes it's hard because you need money or, but I think that's probably one of the keys.
And how can someone turn off that self-doubt?
Turn it off?
Yeah.
Well, you got to be aware. Like being aware is your 50% there. Because then you can laugh at yourself and you're like, oh, that's funny. That to me, it's just, if you can laugh at yourself through the whole process, then you're winning.
Yeah, so don't take things too serious.
Yeah. It's a game. It's all a game. Everything's a game. Nothing's that serious.
Playfulness, optimism.
So play with your thoughts. To me, it's like if something shitty happens, you're like, okay, well, how can I turn this around and make this into a good thing and laugh about it?
How did you learn that?
My dad was very serious and he was... Like he would take things very serious and make us feel really bad about it. And so I thought I would never be like that. And I just find a lot of guys that I've been close to, they have more like that panic. Oh, my car is broken or this is going to be expensive. And they freak out right away. But you're in the same situation. Whether you think you freak out and you see all the negative and this is going to be expensive or you laugh about it, it's the same situation. No matter what, you're in it. So you might as well have a good time and laugh about it because you're just making yourself angry, really.
This could be actually a really good coaching advice. See, I'm not that bad. Not that bad as being a coach, coaching people. Yeah. Because also this, I heard it somewhere recently. I was listening to a podcast with Tim Ferriss and they were saying like the best thing you can teach kids is to be playful and optimistic, positive. Yeah. Leave the negativity outside. It's not serving anything. Very good. Very good.
And it's more fun.
Yeah.
Because let's say you're like, oh, today, like when we would go shoot snowboarding, we're like, oh, we didn't land anything. And you can make it that you didn't have a good day because you weren't productive. But really, if you just say, well, I just hung out with my friends all day. And you just see the good out of your day. I just think it's a way better way to see life than... And you're like, oh, I hung out with my friend. Yeah, I didn't get anything productive done, but look how lucky I am. Like how good my life is.
Have you done anything about values? Any work around values? Like personal core values?
No.
Because I'm picking a couple of things that comes repeatedly here with you. It's like you're talking about fun. Fun is a big part of what you like and what you value. togetherness, friendship, learning.
Yeah.
You said learning a couple of times, like you're all about learning. I can learn anything, anytime. I don't need to go to school to do that.
Yeah.
Exploration, as in traveling and seeing different places. Freedom, obviously. Is it obvious? It's not that obvious.
Yeah.
Obvious.
Freedom, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, well, so I am accurate with these?
Yeah.
Is there something missing?
For what? For my personality?
No, those are like the core values, you know.
My core values.
Yeah. So I was picking.
Yeah, and I think what's so hard nowadays for people is social media.
How?
And because it takes you out of your strength into seeing what everyone else is doing. And one of my main thing when I talk about focus, to me, I had to block what everyone else was doing to be able to be true to what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be and how to be successful. I had to focus on my strengths. And when you look at social media and what everyone else is doing, you kind of be like, maybe I should be doing this, or maybe that. You kind of get distracted on all these other people being successful, and it takes you out of feeling good about yourself.
There you go, another good piece of advice. And comparison is a thief of joy. You know that one? They say it a lot. Really, really good one here too.
It can add like ideas and creativeness too, but to me it added more stress knowing what others were doing than just focusing on creating your reality around you and enjoying where you are, which I have so much FOMO. Right. I'm always checking the weather and fear of missing that I should be somewhere else. So,
how's the weather looking like when you go back?
Oh, it's not snowing yet.
Not snowing
but
yet.
Maybe next week.
You see here, it's not rainy yet.
I know.
Yeah.
Thank God.
It's like it's fun though. I mean,
I enjoy the rain, but the first rains of the season in Bali, I can't say are very clean.
So you would say you're satisfied with the level of accomplishments and things that you accomplished in your life?
And one of my biggest goals was to, when I'm retired, to enjoy my retirement.
And it's happening.
And so my family and my mom, they always ask me, what are you going to do after? What are you going to do after? Aren't you bored? And I'm like, man, I work for this and now I just want to enjoy it. And to me, like, so many people need to be driven and they need to have goals to be happy. And it was one of my biggest challenges was to learn to relax and not to be happy because I was reaching a goal, but just to be happy. And so I find a lot of people can't do that. And I enjoy that challenge, and now I'm a master at doing nothing.
So good. What does success mean to you?
To me, success is being happy and having good relationships.
Relationships.
And freedom. Like, be able to do what you want. Pick up and just do what you want. Not to be tied financially.
Or physically to a space or a place or someone.
Yeah. Well, if you are, then if you're happy, you can make it like in your mind, make the best of it. But.
So to conclude a little bit, can you finish these sentences? Life is all about?
The first one that comes would be fun.
I'm not surprised. And happiness come from?
Happiness comes from, I don't know, friends. Yeah.
More?
Friends, fun, love, sports.
Excellent.
Yeah, I don't know.
Excellent. So yeah, that was really nice having you here. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. My pleasure.
That's it for today's conversation. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the key insights that we shared on this podcast interview. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you didn't subscribe yet, and head to my website, thebodyandmindcoach.com/blog, to find exclusive articles about various personal and professional development topics. And finally, if you are an athlete or a business professional who's looking for help to advance your career and navigate through whatever challenges that you may be facing to win your game, or if you are a corporate organization who would like to offer their team a workplace well-being workshop, or if you are a sports team who's looking at unlocking their full potential, go to my website, thebodyandmindcoach.com, scroll to the bottom and hit the contact button and reach out. Thank you and enjoy your day.